Hi, I'm Dr. Natalie Brei with the Immaculate Heart of Mary Counseling Center, and for this Mental Health Minute, I'll be talking about being in the moment. So most of us have had the experience where we're talking with someone and we completely miss what they're saying, or we're at church and we miss the homily because our mind is somewhere else. And those are normal human experiences, but they're also an invitation to be more in the present, to experience what's going on within and around us. And so there's this thing called mindfulness that has really taken hold in our world, and schools and workplaces are incorporating mindfulness practice because of the benefits that it has on physical and mental health and stress level. And mindfulness is being aware. If you're mindful of something, you're aware, you are attentive, you're attuned, you are present in the moment, you're focused on what's going on inside and around you. And therapists will often recommend mindfulness practice for people who have depression or anxiety, because if you think about it, that's like living in the past or living with worry about the future. And we want to try to draw people more into the present. But we have to be careful because there's often with mindfulness this association with practices that elevate the self, that reach for this kind of self-enlightenment, and that can remove God from the picture. And so as people of faith in God, in Jesus, we want to make sure that we are placing God at that center, that we're practicing the present moment so that we can be aware of how God is speaking to us in that moment, so that we can notice maybe the prompting of the Holy Spirit. We want our faith to be at that center, and that good desire for experiencing the present, we want that to be a desire for experiencing God in the present. And so how do we do this? How do we make sure that in our relationships, when we're talking with other people, in our ability to silence ourselves and silence that constant string of thoughts that's always going, how do we make sure that God is there? So always with this awareness, we're placing Him at the center. Think about how good that would be to receive communion. And instead of watching everyone else going up for communion, to be able to quiet ourselves and recognize that in that moment, Jesus is with us in communion with us. And to be able to recognize the rise and fall of different emotions in us as we're talking to someone, to be able to appreciate beauty when we're out, those things have to have God. It's all nested in God. They have to have God at the center. And so that's the ultimate goal, right, is to be able to create that silence for God to speak to us, to prompt us in the now, which is the only time that we can act. We have to be in the present. But it takes small steps. So how do we do that? And one way, there will be a corresponding blog post that goes into a little bit more detail about all of this, but one way we can do this, adults and kids alike, is to focus on the breath. Just breath coming in and breath going out. And to integrate our faith into this, we can imagine the Holy Spirit coming in to fill us through that breath. So breathing in the Spirit, or breathing in God's peace, creating that space to be present with God, to notice that He's there with us, and then breathing out. So that's like the practice that helps get us ready to be aware of God and to submit our will to Him. But it takes small steps, and we can incorporate our children into this by helping them notice the rise and fall of their belly, maybe imagining the Holy Spirit coming in and filling them and then breathing out. And so that's just one example to bring our mind away from those thoughts and just to breath and to being with God. And there will be lots more examples to come. But for now, thank you so much for listening, and God bless.